Well, formal good morning to everyone.
Morning.
Yeah, normally I would say that really wasn't very good. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. Since we're so close to school starting back and all, right? It is a pleasure to be here. I have done some different presentations in Cincinnati and around the country, but this is the first time being able to share this with you, and I'll tell you a little more about kind of the history behind things, perhaps, a little bit later. But I thought what I would do is actually just kind of jump right into today's talk here. How many of you have been through a training event? Whereas go to a workshop or some kind of a seminar, has anybody not been through one? Okay, everybody's been through some kind of a training event. Do you agree with the slide? Training doesn't work, huh? Why is that? There's no follow-up. Okay. Tony?
Oftentimes there's no context in the training. A lot of times it doesn't totally relate to your business.
Too generic.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Good. What else? Anything else?
You never really put into practice what you learned in that day or half a day or whatever.
Right, okay. Or 2 days or whatever, right? Okay, good. Anybody ever feel like there was more in that workshop than I could even possibly bring back? Not that it was bad stuff, right? But it was 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag, right? All right. So we all agree training doesn't work. I've been in corporate training for 15 years. Made a pretty decent living at it. It doesn't work for you guys. It works great for us. Unless you have an emotional connection or some kind of a reason behind why you do training. Not that many years ago, probably 4 years ago now, a friend of mine who is a public speaker, very, very good, very accomplished speaker and writer, told me about Vistage. You need to get on the Vistage tour. This is, the place to be. And I said, I'm just not interested in getting up and doing presentations. I mean, I like training and developing. I like coaching people. I like helping people get better at what they do. And he said, well, but that would perhaps open the door to opportunities to do that. And at the time, I just couldn't get excited about it. And about 1.5 years ago, I met the folks from RLI. My company, which still exists, is called Journey Learning. And we are primarily an on-site training and development organization. We go in and we do those workshops, anything from a half a day generally to 2.5-day programs. And as long as I've been doing it for about 15 years now, I was actually with the Carew organization, which is also based here in town. I always was frustrated with the idea that we run these great workshops. People give us great reviews on the evaluations, but when I would follow up with my customers, I would find that they aren't following up with their people. And we give them all kinds of great tools. We give them, scripted exercises they can do back at the office. We give them, coaching sheets and key things to look for in the field when they're working with their people. It just doesn't happen. So it's very frustrating. So when I left Carew and started my own business, I thought, you know what? I'm going to tell the customers up front, I don't know if I want to work with you. You might not know if you want to work with me, but once you get to the point where, hey, I'd like to work with you, then it becomes my decision. Because I want to say, I don't want to work with an organization who isn't serious about developing their people. Because when I need you to give me a reference 12 months from now, I don't want my new prospect to hear, hey, it was a great event, but we're just not really doing much of what Steve shared with us. Now, whose fault is that? I hope it's not my fault, although I would take some responsibility for it. But I get the blame. To the new prospect, like, well, heck, you're no different than the other 5 people we've brought in here over the years. So I tried to get to the point where I could say, I'm not sure I want to work with you unless you can convince me that you're serious about doing what it takes after the workshop is over. Because that's when the learning happens. We do great training, But if you want your people to get better, that happens after the workshop is over. And most companies, I think quite frankly, most companies understand that, but I don't think most companies are willing to invest in what does it take then to do the right stuff afterwards. So my talk today is going to be mostly about that, about how do we need to change our cultures so that the follow-up and the coaching and the development that we all know needs to happen can happen.